Welcome to the 2024 Women's Basketball Championship Selection Show. In just a few moments, we will reveal all of the qualifiers for a 43rd Annual NAIA Women's Basketball National Championship set to begin on March 15th with first and second round action at sites throughout the nation. The winners of each will descend on Sioux City, Iowa, beginning on March 21st at the Tyson Event Center. 64 teams will begin their journey to Sioux City, where we will crown the winner on March 26th. The battle for the red banner begins now. There are two primary ways that a team can qualify for the national championship field: by receiving either an automatic bid or an at-large bid into the tournament. The number of teams in each league determines the number of automatic bids in each conference. Leagues with 10 or more schools receive 2 automatic berths, while conferences with less than 10 institutions receive 1. Automatic bids are determined by each conference and can include conference regular season champion, regular season runners-up, tournament champion, or tournament runners-up, depending on the league. The remaining at-large berths are selected by the NAIA Women's Basketball National Selection Committee, made up of coaches and administrators from around the nation. Now, let's take a look at the first round matchup. Let's get started in the Naismith Quadrant, with first and second round games being played in Indianapolis, Indiana, hosted by Marion. The number 1 seed will be the Knights of Marion. The Knights were the Crossroads regular season and tournament champions with an overall record of 30-1. They will face the number 16 seeded Conquistadors of Florida National. The Conquistadors were the Continental Tournament runner-up with an overall record of 15-11. The number 8 seed in the Naismith Quadrant are the Bears of Pikeville. The Bears claimed the Appalachian Tournament Championship with an overall mark of 24-7. They will face the number 9 seed, the Stars of Stevens. The Stars earned an at-large berth out of the AMC with an overall record of 22-7. The next matchups will take place in Lewiston, Idaho, hosted by Lewis Clark State. The number 4 seed will be the Warriors of Lewis Clark State. The Warriors were the Cascade Tournament runners-up with an overall mark of 25-5. They will match up against the number 13 seeded Barons of Brewton Parker. The Barons claimed an at-large berth out of the Southern States with an overall record of 19-12. The number 5 seed in the Naismith Quadrant are the Mustangs of the Masters. The Mustangs earned the GSAC Tournament Championship with an overall record of 25-6. They will face the number 12 seed, the Jimmies of Jamestown. The Jimmies entered the tournament with an at-large berth out of the GPAC with an overall record of 17-12. The next matchups will be played in Seward, Nebraska, hosted by Concordia. The number 3 seed will be the Bulldogs of Concordia. The Bulldogs were the GPAC Tournament runners-up with an overall record of 25-6. They will face the number 14 seed Ravens of Benedictine. The Ravens gained an at-large berth out of the Heart with an overall mark of 20-11. The number 6 seed in the Naismith Quadrant are the Cougars of Columbia. The Cougars earned both the AMC regular season and tournament championships with an overall mark of 27-4. They will face the number 11 seed, the Flying Queens of Wayland Baptist. The Flying Queens gained an at-large berth out of the SAC with an overall record of 22-8. The next matchups will take place in Great Falls, Montana, hosted by Providence. The number 2 seed will be the Argonauts of Providence. The Argonauts were the Frontier Tournament champions with an overall record of 22-8. They will match up against the number 15 seeded Mountaineers of Eastern Oregon. The Mountaineers earned an at-large berth into the field out of the Cascade with an overall mark of 21-7. The number 7 seed in the Naismith Quadrant are the Eagles of Reinhardt. The Eagles gained an at-large berth out of the Appalachian with an overall record of 26-3. They will face the number 10 seed, the Firestorm of Arizona Christian. The Firestorm grabbed an at-large berth out of the GSAC with an overall record of 18-12. Let's move to the Kramer Quadrant, with first and second round games being played in Marion, Indiana, hosted by Indiana Wesleyan. The number 1 seed will be the Wildcats of Indiana Wesleyan. The Wildcats were the Crossroads Tournament runners-up with an overall mark of 27-4. They will face the number 16 seeded Bulldogs of Fisk. The Bulldogs were the Gulf Coast Tournament runner-up with an overall record of 20-9. The number 8 seed in the Kramer Quadrant are the Red Storm of Rio Grande. The Red Storm advanced to the national field after winning the River State Tournament title with an overall record of 26-5. They will face the number 9 seeded Red Raiders of Northwestern. The Red Raiders joined the tournament field with an at-large berth out of the GPAC with an overall record of 18-11. Our next matchups will take place in Madison, South Dakota, hosted by Dakota State. The number 4 seed will be the Trojans of Dakota State. The Trojans earned an at-large berth into the field out of the North Star with an overall mark of 25-6. They will match up against the number 13 seeded Drovers of Science and Arts. The Drovers gained an at-large berth out of the Sooner with an overall record of 19-10. The number 5 seed in the Kramer Quadrant are the Vikings of Grandview. The Vikings earned the Hart Tournament Championship with an overall record of 27-4. They will face the number 12 seed, the Titans of IU South Bend. The Titans claim both the Chicagoland regular season and tournament crowns with an overall mark of 30-1. The next matchups in the Kramer Quadrant will be played in New Orleans, Louisiana, hosted by Loyola. The number 3 seed in the Kramer Quadrant are the Tigers of Georgetown. The Tigers gained an at-large berth out of the Mid-South with an overall mark of 24-6. They will face the number 14 seed, the Buffs of Milligan. The Buffs claimed an at-large berth out of the AAC with an overall record of 23-7. The number 6 seed will be the Wolfpack of Loyola. The Wolfpack won both the Southern States regular season and tournament titles with an overall record of 24-4. They will face the number 11 seeded Fire of Southeastern. The Fire were the Sun Tournament champions with an overall record of 22-7. The next matchups will take place in Helena, Montana, hosted by Carroll. The number 2 seed will be the Saints of Carroll. The Saints claimed an at-large berth out of the Frontier with an overall record of 24-5. They will match up against the number 15 seeded Eagles of Embry-Riddle. The Eagles claimed the Cowpack Tournament Championship with an overall record of 19-12. The number 7 seed in the Kramer Quadrant are the Owls of Oregon Tech. The Owls gained an at-large berth out of the Cascade with an overall record of 26-4. They will face the number 10 seed, the Warriors of Jessup. The Warriors grabbed an at-large berth into the field out of the GSAC with an overall mark of 21-7. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll reveal the right side of the bracket right after this.
I told my dad from a young age that I wanted to play ball at the highest level. He told me that hard work and consistency would get me there, and that he had a plan to help measure and track my progress. What I found is that the journey is the dream. With the help of the best coaches in America, my father and I launched an app that gives you a plan to become the best that you can be.
First time I picked up a Spalding TF ball, I knew it was built different. You know that feeling from that first moment on, it never leaves your hand. It raises you, lifts you to new heights, got you doing things like that. And once you're hooked, ain't nothing gonna stop that. It teaches you to be a student first, to lay it all out, just to do it again.
And again.
From the moment you pick up a TF ball, it's always there for you. Now do something with it.
Welcome back. Moving now to the Dewar Quadrant with first and second round games played in Campbellsville, Kentucky, hosted by Campbellsville. The number 1 seed will be the Tigers of Campbellsville. The Tigers won the Mid-South Tournament Championship with an overall record of 28-1. They will face the number 16 seeded Jaguars of Governor State. The Jaguars were the Chicagoland regular season runner-up with an overall record of 23-6. The number 8 seed in the Dewar Quadrant are the Crusaders of William Carey. The Crusaders earned an at-large berth out of the Southern States with an overall record of 21-4. They will face the number 9 seed, the Eagles of Williams Baptist. The Eagles were the runners-up in the AMC tournament with an overall record of 24-6. Our next matchups will take place in Ashland, Oregon, hosted by Southern Oregon. The number 4 seed will be the Raiders of Southern Oregon. The Raiders claim both the Cascade regular season and tournament championships with an overall record of 27-4. They will match up against the number 13 seeded Pioneers of Antelope Valley. The Pioneers won the Cowpack regular season championship with an overall mark of 20-10. The number 5 seed in the Qualifiers Quadrant are the Oaks of Menlo. The Oaks grabbed an at-large berth out of the GSAC with an overall mark of 18-8. They will face the number 12 seed, the Blue Raiders of Lindsey Wilson. The Blue Raiders earned an at-large berth out of the Mid-South with an overall record of 19-11. The next matchups in the Qualifiers Quadrant will be played in Williamsburg, Kentucky, hosted by the University of the Cumberlands. The number 3 seed will be the Patriots of the University of the Cumberlands. The Patriots earned an at-large berth into the national field out of the Mid-South with an overall mark of 22-9. They will face the number 14 seeded Saints of Siena Heights. The Saints were the Wolverine Hoosier tournament runners-up with an overall record of 27-4. The number 6 seed in the Qualifiers Quadrant are the Lions of Bryan. The Lions won the Appalachian regular season title with an overall record of 24-6. They will face the number 11 seed, the Rams of Mobile. The Rams were the Southern States tournament runners-up with an overall mark of 26-6. Our next matchups will take place in Dubuque, Iowa, hosted by Clark. The number 2 seed will be the Pride of Clark. The Pride claimed the Hart regular season title with an overall record of 28-2. They will match up against the number 15 seeded Bobcats of the College of the Ozarks. The Bobcats won the Continental Tournament Championship with an overall record of 25-6. The number 7 seed in the Qualifiers Quadrant are the Tigers of Dakota Wesleyan. The Tigers claimed an at-large berth out of the GPAC with an overall mark of 20-10. They will face the number 10 seed, the Bearcats of Rust. The Bearcats won both the Gulf Coast regular season and tournament championships with an overall mark of 28-3. Just 16 teams remain as we move on to the listing quadrant as we take a look at the first host site of the first and second round played in Sioux Center, Iowa, hosted by Dordt. The number 1 seed will be the Defenders of Dordt. The Defenders claim the GPAC regular season and tournament titles with an overall mark of 29-2. They will face the number 16 seeded Mighty Oaks of Oakland City. The Mighty Oaks are the River States tournament runners-up with an overall mark of 23-7. The number 8 seed in the listing quadrant are the Lions of Langston. The Lions were the runners-up of the Sooner tournament with an overall record of 24-7. They will face the number 9 seed Cougars of Spring Arbor. The Cougars gained an at-large berth out of the Crossroads with an overall record of 23-7. The next matchups will take place in Salina, Kansas, hosted by the KCAC. The number 4 seed will be the Comets of Mayville State. The Comets won the North Star Tournament Championship with an overall mark of 24-3. They will match up against the number 13 seeded Lions of Freed Hardman. The Lions earned an at-large berth into the tournament field out of the Mid-South with an overall record of 19-10. The number 5 seed in the listed quadrant are the Pilots of LSU Shreveport. The Pilots won both the Red River regular season and tournament titles with an overall record of 29-2. They will face the number 12 seed, the Blue Jays of Tabor. The Blue Jays claimed both the KCAC regular season and tournament championships with an overall record of 27-4. Our next matchups in the listing quadrant will be played in Salem Springs, Arkansas, hosted by John Brown. The number 3 seed will be the Golden Eagles of John Brown. The Golden Eagles claimed both the Sooner regular season and tournament crowns with an overall record of 28-3. They will face the number 14 seeded Gold Nuggets of Xavier. The Gold Nuggets enter the tournament field as the next highest ranked Red River team in the Southwest Arc with an overall record of 25-6. The number 6 seed in the listing quadrant are the Warriors of Indiana Tech. The Warriors entered the national tournament after winning both the Wolverine Hoosier regular season and tournament championships with an overall record of 28-3. They will face the number 11 seed, the Bobcats of St. Thomas. The Bobcats earned an at-large berth out of the Sun with an overall record of 22-8. The next matchups will take place in Wichita, Kansas, hosted by the KCAC. The number 2 seed will be the Lions of Vanguard. The Lions earned an at-large berth out of the GSAC with an overall record of 20-5. They will match up against the number 15 seeded Spires of St. Mary. The Spires were the 2nd seed in the KCAC tournament with an overall record of 25-6. The number 7 seed in the listing quadrant are the Chargers of Briar Cliff. The Chargers earned an at-large berth out of the GPAC with an overall record of 21-9. They will face the number 10 seed, the Evangels of Mid-America Christian. The Evangels earned an at-large berth into the national tournament out of the Sooner with an overall record of 22-8. Let's take one more look at the championship field. The 43rd annual NAIA Women's Basketball National Championship gets started on March 15th at first and second round sites throughout the nation, culminating in the NAIA Women's Basketball National Championship final site in Sioux City, Iowa on March 21st. Catch all the action on the NAIA Network and the championship on ESPN3. Thanks for watching, and good luck to all of our qualifiers.